Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here we are with our new lesson, that is Introduction to Biology, specific reference to colonial and multicellular organization. Previously, we had discussed about different levels or organisms which are coming under the unicellular organization, in which we discussed about the organisms which can be of prokaryotic type or of eukaryotic type, and depending on their prokaryotic and eukaryotic nature, different organisms survive as a single cell life, and that is called as unicellular organism. Now we are moving towards the next two topics that are related to unicellular organization or cellular organization specifically, that is of colonial and multicellular type. First of all, if you are discussing about colonial organization, as the name indicates, this is something cells are living in the form of colonies. So it says that in colonial type of organization, cells live together, but there is no division of labor. When I'm talking about no division of labor, that means different functions are not being performed or divided into different groups of cells. So each and every cell is basically able to perform their own function, and it is not depending on any other cell for its tasks. Rather, these cells are able to complete all the functions which are necessary for its survival, but cells are still living together, and that type of organization is called as colonial organization. Each cell lives its own life independent of the others, but yet it stays together. For example, we have an example of Wallbox. Wallbox is basically a green alga found in water, comprising of hundreds of cells living in a colonial type. First of all, if we talk about algae, these are something which are on the borderline of plants and animals. These do have the properties of animals, like they can move from one place to another. But when we are talking about specifically green algae, they have chlorophyll in it and they can photosynthesize. So that's why they are having plants character as well. So that's why we have put into a different category called as algae, or singular is called as alga. So volvox basically belong to green algae, and it shows a colonial type in which multiple cells, like maybe hundreds of cells living together, but each cell is capable of performing its own activities. Here you can see in the volvox example, we have got three illustrations. In first one, there's a colony of volvox, which appears to be like pinhead structure, and in which you are able to see in the small black dots, and each black dot is basically representing a single volvox cell. And as you can see, there are hundreds of volvox cells like together in a circular shaped structure, which we call as a colony. In this colony, we are having like spots of cells or simply cells, then mucilage, then cytoplasmic strands, outer boundary of mucilage, and the flagella. Here we have mucilage, that is something, a sort of sticky substance which are keeping these cells together. For example, each cell has the ability to move with the help of its flagella, and yet it is present in the form of colony. So there must be something sticky that is making these cells to live together, so that if they are found in the water and a water wave comes in, or a strong blow of wind, does not detach these cells from each other. So with the help of this mucilage or the cytoplasmic strands, the cells are able to stick together. Here you can see in picture B or illustration B, we have got a small portion of this colony magnified or zoomed in. We can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 cells which are visible, and each cell appears to be a pear-shaped with having 2 flagella. And this is again mucilage prism, cytoplasmic strands, and all that it requires a cell to stick to the next one. And then part of colony has further been magnified into a specific cell structure, and that you can see is a single cell. In single cell, there is a contractile vacuole, there is a chloroplast, there is a well-defined nucleus, paranoid, and protoplasmic processes. Here you can see with the help of nucleus, chloroplast, and contractile vacuole, it has proper organelles. And yes, if it is having proper organelles, it is included in eukaryotes. Then there is something new that is for you, that might be new for you, that is eye spot. So eye spot is just not exactly the eyes that we do have, so that we would have written it as eye. Rather, we have written it as eye spot. So this eye spot is basically to detect the light. So whenever after moving from a lighter space to a darker space, the organism goes to an area where light is not able to reach. So this eye spot basically detects the area which is having light waves, so that it can order this organism to move towards light for the purpose of photosynthesis. As we have already told that it is a green alga, so that's why it is depending on the food that is being produced by its own chloroplast. So that's why it needs sunlight. So when it needs sunlight, how does it know whether sunlight is present or not? That is because of this eye spot. So that was all about the Wallbox or colonial organization. The next thing is what we have is multicellular organization. As the name indicates, it is having multiple cells living together to make a complete organism. In this type of organization, cells are organized in groups called tissues, organs, and organ system. And best well-known example you can take is definitely of human beings. But right here, I have taken the example of frog and mustard, which have been mentioned in your textbook. In this case, you can see frog, we have a complete structure explained here that is related to its digestive system, in which we start from right from buccal cavity, that is mouth. We have esophagus, we have gallbladder, we have ileum, bile duct, stomach, pancreas, pancreatic duct. Actually, the picture that is describing is its digestive system. But apart from that, you can see the urinary bladder that is responsible for excretion. So somehow excretory process is also explained here. But in this picture, multiple systems which are also present in frog are not illustrated, but rather this picture depicts or shows that there are multiple organ systems working inside the body with the help of millions and trillions of individual cells. These cells are working in a group manner, that is tissues are grouped into organs are grouped into organ systems, and as a whole multiple organ systems are completing a complete individual frog or complete organism. That is example from animal multicellular organization. Then if we talk about the plant as a multicellular organization, you can see this plant has shoot system, which is above the ground parts, and the root system, which is basically below ground parts. So we have got two different systems, in which first one is shoot system and other one is root system. So plants are basically the organisms or multicellular example in which organ system is not, or organ level of organization is not that much definite, but rather their systems are much defined. And beyond, if you talk about tissues, yes, tissues are well defined, but in case of plants, organs are not that much well defined as compared to the animal structure. So in shoot system, you can see we have got terminal bud, we have got flower, we have fruit, we have stem, we have parts of stem called as nodes and internodes. Then we have axillary bud, midrib of the leaves, veins of the leaves, you can see small lines here, and then leaf lamina, that is a complete broad flat structure, and then petiole, the stick which is actually holding this leaf with the stem. And there is node, that is the point of stems from which new branches arise. Then we have, if we see the underground parts, we have primary roots, we have secondary roots, and we have tertiary roots, and along with that we have root hair. So overall you can see that there is a transport system in plants which is very much active. Then there is photosynthesis, there is reproduction, there's a fruit production system. So all these systems, organs and tissues and organ systems are basically comprising or getting together to make a complete multicellular organization for plants. So that was all for today about multicellular organization and the colonial type. Thank you.